Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to yet another video. No, I have not changed my schedule, and no, the weekend video is still coming. Don't worry. This is just some extra content I wanted to give you guys because I had the free time and I haven't been able to upload for a while. So I guess enjoy. So what are we talking about today? Today we're talking about the common misconceptions about animals. These are misconceptions held in the AVA community by people who either completely don't understand the anatomy of an animal or probably don't have that much of a grasp on physics. So we will clear four such misconceptions and let's get into it. First misconception. I don't know how this originated, by the way, but someone out there have said smilodons are built like bears. This cannot be further from the truth because smilodons were cats. They were still very, very cat-like. And the idea behind it is that bears are supposedly these muscle hunks. They aren't, they're mostly fat. But they are these muscle hunks which have huge shoulder muscles that will allow them to pin down massive prey. Yet there are no video evidence of such things being possible. But I will show you with a comparison right here is that their body plans are kind of the opposite. Smilodons are very front heavy. They have massive front shoulders, massive front paws, but not so impressive back area. When you look at a bear, it has a very impressive back limb and back hips because they have like very heavy back portions and they need it in order to stand upright because bears can stand upright on two legs, usually to intimidate other animals. And in order to do that, their back half needs to be heavier than their front half. Otherwise, they cannot stand up. This is why humans can stand up, because our lower body, where our legs are, which are much bigger than our arms, our lower body is actually heavier than our upper body. Due to this, we can stand upright. If our upper body was heavier than our lower body, we won't be able to stand upright for very long. Case in point, gorillas. So a gorilla is not having a similar body plan to a smilodon, but you get the idea. An animal that is front heavy is not built for standing up. It's in fact built to pin down giant animals, which is what smilodon was really good at. On the other hand, bears, which are great at standing upright, have a back heavy posture or a back heavy body plan. The things that do have closer body plan, again not exactly the same but closer body plan to a smilodon, are the biggest big cats. So lions and tigers have closer body plans to smilodons than anything else. So you can see there are some similarities, like smilodons had this really robust shoulder. You can see that being present in the lion. They had these really thick front limbs that are present in the tigers. In the lion, you can somewhat see the back portion being a little bit leaner like the smilodon, whereas in the tiger it's a bit more uniform, though it varies from individual to individual. But these two animals are the closest in terms of body plan to an actual smilodon, not bears. Bears are kind of the opposite of that. Let's look at second misconception. That is that big cats cannot successfully pounce on a bear when it's standing upright. So what do they mean by this? What they mean by this is that if a big cat was to jump on a bear when it's standing upright like this, it won't be able to topple over and pin down the bear. So in order to calculate this, we first need to calculate how much force it takes to topple over a topple over a bear, and then we will see how much force it takes for a cat to jump. Essentially, if the cat can even jump that with that much force to topple over a bear. Let's calculate the toppling force needed for a bear. So here we have our formula, which is F, obviously, the force needed. M is the mass. I took the heaviest bear of all, like, not all time, but current times, which is polar bears, and the maximum weight is 700 kilograms. So we have it here. Next is G, which is the gravitational acceleration. Thirdly, it is the radius. So the radius here will be the radius of their foot. Now, from what I have heard, is the biggest polar bears have a foot which is 30 centimeters across. So it's about half of that, because if it's a circle that is 30 centimeters across, the radius will be half of that, which is 15 centimeters, or 0.15 meters. And what is the L? The L is the height. So it is about 11 feet tall, so which is about 3.4 meters. We are assuming that the collision happens here near the head. So if that is the case, and by the way, cats can easily jump this high, like a tiger or a lion can easily jump this high. So if that's the case, it is 700 multiplied by the G, which is the 9.81, multiplied by the R, which is 0.15, and divided by L, which is 3.14. And when you multiply all of that, you get a force of 302.95 newtons, or 30.8 kgf, or kilogram force. However, because the bear has 2 legs, we can double this force for maybe maximum efficiency. And if we double that, we get somewhere around 604 or 605 newtons, or 61.6 or 62 kilogram force. Now, can a big cat, let's say the biggest big cat, the tiger, generate this sort of force at its top speed? So let's take the top speed first. So first of all, we need to calculate the momentum a tiger would generate at its top speed. So the top speed, V, equals to 72 kilometers per hour. Now, granted, a tiger cannot maintain this speed for very long, but they can get to this speed, and it doesn't take very long to leap. So we can assume that they are the top speed here. So, which is 20 meters per second. Next is the mass. I'm taking the heaviest tiger, so around 300 kilograms. I know there are tigers that are slightly heavier than these, but I'm taking 300 kilograms for the ease of calculations. And the momentum will be mass times velocity, which is 300 kilograms multiplied by 20 meters per second. So which is 6,000 kilogram meters per second. Remember, this is the momentum. The impact force would obviously change based on how long the collision is happening for. So if it is happening for 0.1 second impact, it will be 60,000 newtons. If it happens for 0.2 seconds impact, that will be 30,000 newtons. If it is happening for half a second impact, that will be 12,000 newtons. And let's say it's happening for 1 second, that will be 6,000 newtons. And when you convert it to kgf, or kilogram force, you notice it's ridiculously higher than the force needed to topple over a polar bear. So, okay, let's give some liberty here, okay? First of all, I took some assumptions. One of them being that the big cat is at its top speed when it's colliding with the bear. And second of all, it's a perfect collision. So it's like perfectly elastic collision, which obviously it won't happen because their bodies are not perfectly elastic materials. But let's say even if like half of this force gets absorbed by something like, not even half, I don't think it would get absorbed by half, because that would be way too high, way too inefficient for any material that they're made out of. Even if let's say 30% of it is gone in the collision, and the big cat is like even 80% speed, still this force will be so high it would easily topple over a bear that is standing upright. And now people might say, okay, the bear could fall back to its default position, which is on all fours, like here. The problem is the direction. So once the cat leaps on the bear, the force is applied in this direction. In order to get into this position again, they need to overcome this force with their sheer weight, which, as we have seen, is not possible. So what would happen in an encounter like this? If a tiger, let's say in this case, obviously you could take the big cat of your choice and put the mass and stuff in the formula. Feel free to screenshot both of these formulas if you wish to. But what would happen if a scenario like this plays out? Here I have used the tiger and the polar bear. You can use animals of your choice. It will pounce and it will pin the bear. Let's look at the next misconception, and that is bite force can ensure deeper penetration. I have talked about like why this is not the case detailed in a video, but somehow people haven't understood the point, so here we are. People assume because animals like hyenas have greater bite force, they automatically have greater bite effectiveness or penetration or damage. That's not the case. Now people might say, oh, but they have sledgehammer like canines and stuff. True. The problem is how much can this canines penetrate? That's what the damage depends upon. If the canine can't penetrate that much, there won't be that much damage from the bite. Now, granted, if it is on a limb and it breaks the bone, that's a whole different scenario. But I'm talking about like a body bite and how much damage that would do, or maybe a neck bite. So here we have our unfortunate victim, the cougar, and we will test 3 different skulls on the cougar to see the depth of penetration in a fully successful bite and how much damage that would do. First off is the hyena. And once a hyena bites down, even with its crushing bite force, it can't go any deeper than this because of the other teeth being in the way. These teeth cannot penetrate any deeper. In fact, the part of the canine that can go inside of a prey animal or any target is the difference between the canine and the incisors. The bigger the difference is, the bigger the penetration is going to be, because incisors are not going to penetrate because they are not designed for that. They are very closely packed together, so they are not going to penetrate. The only teeth that will penetrate are the canines. And when you look at it, it has only penetrated this much. No matter how hard the hyena bites, its teeth is not gonna go any deeper. Its own skull is in the way for this tooth to go any deeper. Now let's look at another skull. Here we have a tiger skull, which has a bit more difference between the canines and the incisors. There's like majority of it, like the length of the canine is there just for the penetration. The difference is like almost the same length as the canine. And once it swings, you can see that the penetration is much deeper. It can reach the spine. And let's look at an extreme example now, which is the Smilodon, where there is an enormous difference between the canine and the incisor. And once it swings, you can see how much it has penetrated. It has even damaged the brain of the cougar. So I hope this clears up some misconceptions and you understand why the tooth anatomy is important more so than the bite force. Okay, this is the fourth one and the most common one. I am so sick and tired of this misconception, is that Ambush somehow gives big cats superpowers where they can take down big animals despite not being strong enough or agile enough to take down those creatures. Ambush somehow gives them a superpower. And I will show you a visualization of what people think of when they think of an ambush. Here we are taking a tiger as an example again. You can take any big cat of your choice for this. I know there are some lion fans who always say, why do you not use lions? Okay, the tiger looks better. Okay, I just prefer the look of a tiger better. I like demonstrating with it. That's it. I have nothing against lions. In fact, the video that is coming out this weekend is based on lions. But anyways, back to the simulation. This is what people think an ambush looks like, by the way. Yeah, that's what they think. It's like suddenly a big cat gets superpower and immediately grabs the buffalo without alerting anything. That's not what happens. More likely outcome of an ambush is that the big cat, the second it gets out, all the prey animals get spooked and they run in different directions, including the one the big cat was targeting. And they both run for a while. Here they're still running, and then once the big cat has grabbed this animal, then only can it start killing. By this time, this, and this buffalo is aware that one of their friends is targeted. They are not the target, so they are no longer spooked, thinking that they might be targeted, and they are coming to help this thing now. But, since ambush allows them to close the distance before these ones can close the distance, the cat can successfully kill this thing and get away from the rest of the herd. Now, if the cat didn't use ambush, the problem that will happen is the remaining buffaloes will immediately start charging the tiger, while the targeted buffalo will just simply escape. I hope this video clears these misconceptions. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any different calculations, feel free to show me. I would love to read them. And if you have any video suggestions or any other comments about any of the topics displayed in the video, feel free to drop them in the comments. As always, like, share, subscribe, and remember, moo ah 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 ah.